Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, because those are the men that I learned this truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the true name of the God of Israel. Yahweh Shai is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one and only true name is Yahweh Shai. And pretty much this is a World War III update concerning biblical prophecy. All right, so Lord willing, for the believers, which are the elect of the nation of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians that's hastening for the return of Yahweh Shai so that we can receive salvation. All right, Lord willing, this video, boosts you up. This good news, because our salvation is near. Now, this is an article, really a video that I found, but I actually found articles on it. So this is the topic. It says, Iran threatens to build nuclear weapons and attack New York. Now, what you need to understand is America and Israel are allies. So Israel and Iran, they have problems with one another. Now, if Israel, goes to war, which is prophesied in the Bible, by the way, but when they do go to war or have issues with Iran, America has to step in. Now, Iran and America been going back and forth because, remember, in 2019, you had the general Soleimani, from Iran. He was killed by Donald Trump. He pretty much was killed by the American army when they launched the cruise missiles over there, if I'm not mistaken. So Iran and America, all right, which America is Babylon the Great, they're not on good terms. So the elite banking families and these chief Edomites, they are well aware of biblical prophecy, and they understand that their downfall is pending. All right, all these different current events that's happening on the planet Earth is nothing more than biblical prophecy. So the Edomites are very afraid. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to hinder prophecy. They're trying to make prophecy cease or slow it down. And they know that they can't do that. So what they did was they came up with that Iran nuclear deal, really going back to the Obama administration. All right. But Trump, he ain't really care about that, So now Iran is back to building nuclear weapons, which is Bible prophecy. All right. And it's not a coincidence. We just had weeks ago, it was a video that came out about pretty much preparing New York for a nuclear threat. Now you got Iran threatening New York. So this is bound to happen. All right. So it says Iran threatens to build nuclear weapons and attack New York. It's always New York. Whenever you hear about the destruction of Babylon the Great, which is America, what do you always see? The Statue of Liberty, with the head chopped off or is like buried in sand. It's always New York. I wonder why. So I'm going to read this article a little bit. It says, a video says that Tehran can build nuclear weapons if the U.S. or Zionists, which a Zionist is a person that supports the state of Israel. All right. It says regime makes any stupid mistakes. So Iran is fed up with Israel. All right. Iran is fed up with America. They had enough. It says Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps issued a statement on its official Telegram channels on Saturday saying its goal was to develop nuclear warheads and threatening to pulverize New York. It says another short video says that Tehran can turn its peaceful nuclear program to a nuclear weapons program rapidly if the U.S. or Zionist regime makes any stupid mistakes. The video also threatened to turn New York into hellish ruins. All right. And as you can see there, that's what's going on in their news. All right. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. Ain't really much to say. Now, before I go into the scriptures, Let's see the origins of why this hatred has been going on for years, because this is nothing new. Things are just getting worse. So this is an article I found that says why America and Iran hate each other. Now, this is an old article, but it's going to support, what I'm about to say. So it says America and Iran have despised each other for decades. The hostility intensified in 2019, reaching a fever pitch yesterday as the Pentagon ordered an airstrike that killed Iran's most powerful general, Qasem Soleimani. All right. And this is the guy that I was referring to. So this is what the U.S. did. All right. It says, but where does the bitter tension between the two nations come from? Oddly enough, it began with the British in the Middle East during the first part of the 20th century. It's a story about oil, the Cold War, the jostling for power in the region, and the hostage crisis with diplomatic impact somewhere near that of 9/11. All right, so it says oil, the Soviets, and the menace to Western interests. It says before World War II, Britain essentially dominated Iran's oil industry through what was then called the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. But the war left a greatly weakened Britain in its wake. All right. So, I mean, this is old. All right. This is old hatred amongst Iran and America. So now let's get into the prophecies now. Let's get into the Bible. So this is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, and I'm going to start at verse 1, which, as you can see here, the whole chapter of Obadiah is dealing with what? The judgments of Edom, which is going to happen in this lifetime and in the kingdom of heaven. So this is Obadiah 1 and 1. And who are the Edomites? The Edomites is the so-called white man and his seed line. All right, beginning with the central bankers on down. The Edomites are in power, right? According to the Bible, 2 Ezra 6 and 9. So it says the vision of Obadiah. So this is a vision, meaning that what? This was going to happen in the future. From that time period that Obadiah had this vision, all right, in the future, which is right now, and in the kingdom of heaven, Edom is going to be judged. All right. These are the things that will be occurring to the nation of Edom. So it says, the vision of Obadiah thus saith the Most High concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye and let us, all right, us. You got these different nations, they form in pacts with one another. All right, Iran, Russia, Turkey, Syria, their allies, Libya, all right? So it says, let us arise up against her in battle, all right? And ultimately, who's the her? The whore, all right, which is America, Babylon the Great. It says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. So Iran greatly despises America. Because here you have America, they're pretty much trying to disarm Iran, all right? They're trying to stop them from gathering up the uranium to build the nuclear missiles. They're trying to get them to solidify that Iranian nuclear deal. But the Iranians, they still have that hatred. They still be saying that the death chants. So this is all prophecy, all right? Obviously, they're not going to stop building their nuclear weapons. Why? Because that's the spirit that the Heavenly Father put on the Iranians as well as their allies, all right, to fulfill his will, which is prophecy. Because what's going to be the end result of World War III? The destruction of Babylon the Great, which Babylon the Great is America, according to the Bible. All right, so America is greatly despised. You killed their generals, all right? They had enough of that. Now let's get into this. This is Ezekiel chapter 38. I'm going to just get to the point. Ezekiel 38 and 4. Now, this is dealing with Russia because they operate, they occupy that landmass over there. So it says, Ezekiel 38 and 4, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. Now, what does that mean? That old hatred that Russia had when it was known as the Soviet Union, that's coming back. What's making it come back? The propaganda and the lies of America. All right. It says, and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thy army. That's why Russia is having the military drills. All right. That's why you see the different tensions between Ukraine and Russia, Russia and America. It says, and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor. You know, different type of technology, different weaponry. It says, yep, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields. All of them were handling swords because Russia has allies. And it's going to go into it. Persia, right, which when you look at the map today, who are the Persians? The Iranians, all right? So this is all prophecy that's being fulfilled. The relationships that these different nations is building with one another, all right? Mainly Iran and Russia. This is the vision of Ezekiel, all right? This is biblical prophecy. It says Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia. These are their allies. And Libya, with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer, which Gomer is who? Turkey. And all of his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all of his bands, and many people with thee. Right? It says, be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, and all thy company that are assembled unto them, and be thou guard unto them. So Russia being the chief, strongest nation with the most nuclear weapons, all right? They're going to be a guard unto the weaker nations. So they're going to back up, or they're going to protect Iran and their allies, all right? Syria included, all right? That's why when you look at a map, you see that the Russians, they have bases around Syria. Why? Because they have to be a guard unto them. Because Syria is not as powerful as the enemy nations that's messing with them, all right? They're not as strong as Russia, you know, which is one of their allies. So Russia being the chief, strongest nation out of that pack, they have to defend their weaker ally. All right. Now let me read this. This is Malachi 4 and verse 1. It says, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven. What day is that talking about? That's talking about thermonuclear destruction. All right. That's what's going to take place. You see it in these different movies. All right. You even see it in certain music videos. You know, this is not a conspiracy. This is real. This is going to take place. As soon as the MOTB, which is this, as soon as this is made mandatory throughout all countries, shortly after that, you're going to have the destruction of Babylon the Great, all right, which is America. And also the state of Israel, created by them Zionists. That land is going to be destroyed, but then it's going to be built back up by the heathen nations, pursuant to Isaiah, the 60th chapter. All right? So this is getting ready to come to pass. So that's why Malachi is saying what? For behold, the day cometh, meaning it's coming, but it's a buildup. It says, that shall burn as an oven, thermonuclear war. World War III is going to be fought with thermonuclear weapons, all right? Thermonuclear missiles. It says, and all the proud, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And you get the example of the proud when you read Revelation 21:8 about the Pacific individuals that's going to be destroyed in the lake of fire. All right? The ones that go against the will of the Most High, ultimately, if you're not a part of the elect. All right? The ones of you that take that chip when it's made mandatory, you're going to have your part in the lake that burneth with fire. All right? It says, shall be stubble, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. So that's what's going to take place very soon. That's why you're seeing all these different articles and videos coming out, mainly focusing on New York. So, hey, man, you know, just keep watching for prophecy. Keep linking up the current events with the prophecies. And if you're an Israelite, man, just pray and hope that you are part of the elect. So, Lord willing, you was edified. Shalom.